Okay, so first of all, thanks for the previous presenters. Great to be here, tell you some examples about design work at Surgify. So we're an Aalto-based, or let's say Aalto spin-off company. And I will, let's say, try to incorporate both the human and AI elements of design, especially in health. And through some examples, show you a little bit what our path, our design path towards safer surgery has been at Surgify. So, first of all, I could say that Surgify is we're definitely a need-based company. So we have our roots in a collaboration project between Aalto University and also Helsinki University Hospital. And I started my career as a researcher at the neurosurgery clinic at HUS. My co-founder was working as a researcher at Aalto in mechanical engineering and mechatronics. And actually both of us have visited the operating rooms many times throughout our work and identified multiple of, let's say, a multitude of issues related to bone cutting and especially soft tissue injuries during bone cutting. So first thing, let me see. Okay, I'll just press this. So first thing I have realized in the operating room in multiple different bone surgeries such as neurosurgery and spine surgery, also some orthopedic procedures, is this what you can also see in the images. So injuries to soft tissues caused by surgical power tools and also by manual bone resection tools. And I have witnessed also a couple of cases where these kind of injuries have led to, let's say, near-death experiences for the patients. And I apologize in advance for putting this out here, but I think it's very, very good to show in a concrete way what we started to solve as a company in terms of clinical issues. And bone surgery overall, I think it was mentioned a couple of times in this, in the previous presentations as well, but it's becoming more and more common. So we have patients who are getting older, and orthopedics is largely related to, let's say, degenerative diseases. And these type of surgeries nowadays, they overall account for actually a majority of the cases at hospitals. And they can also be life-threatening. It's said that these clinical issues of damaging nerves, blood vessels, central nervous system structures, they are actually the most relevant complication in many of these fields of surgery, and especially spine, which is a growing field. So Surgify's, let's say, our design path to solve this issue started from some quite predictable lines of thinking. So we developed prototypes for systems that were able to recognize, for example, when the drill was about to go through the bone during surgery. So when it's going into the wrong place, it would be digitally recognized. We developed prototypes of products in collaboration with Aalto that used like water jets to repel soft tissues during surgery, sort of to push them out of the way of surgical instruments. But all of these were very, very, let's say, complicated and costly ways to solve this problem. And even statistically speaking, for medical device startups, the most common, let's say, two most common reasons for failure is, of course, number one, lack of financing, but immediately after that, too difficult adoption process for the hospital. So actually the cost of the product is, let's say you would have a, for example, like a device that works, a new device that works with ultrasound or something like that. You bring it into the operating room, and the cost is only one of the aspects, and on top of that there will come maintenance, storage and logistics costs for the hospitals, and most importantly, training. So training the staff to use new equipment is extremely costly in a hospital environment. So what we have developed since is called the Halo drill. And the Halo is basically a solution where you only need to switch the tip of your surgical power tool to make it safer. So we figured out that that's the most straightforward way to improve the quality of surgery cost effectively. And the Halo tip is like a tissue selective tip that you can install to, well, theoretically in any type of power tool you have in the operating room. And it is safer for nerves and blood vessels if you get in contact with those. Here you can see an image of the device. So this is the Surgify Halo drill on the left side. And all the technology we basically develop is at the tip. And this is very easy for the surgeons to use because they don't need to actually learn anything new in order to start to use the product. So from that perspective, I think we have definitely achieved our goal of making it as easy to adopt as possible. So nowadays at hospitals, because this is currently in fairly broad use in Finland and some neighboring countries, the safety is an important aspect for practically all surgeons. But, okay, that's not my computer, let's see. Okay. Yeah, so safety is an important aspect, but in an environment where we have rising costs, speed and cost effectiveness are more and more relevant constantly, actually in all healthcare systems globally nowadays. So the fact that we can protect some of the critical tissues during surgery has actually led to the conclusion that we can also do surgeries much faster. And this is a very important aspect we are pushing for the hospitals as well, because when they get used to it, they also realize that actually we can save a lot of time and a lot of costs as well with this type of technology. I'll just very briefly show you, because this is, let's say, related to the design as well, but you can see a little bit how it works. So a conventional surgical drill it's a rotary power tool that can damage tissues. Sometimes you use also manual devices, but our device, the Halo drill, has a tip that's actually made of two different materials. So the other one is responsible for cutting, and the other one is responsible for protecting the soft tissue. So it's slightly larger, this kind of ring around the device, and when you push it on the bone, it will compress. And that creates some, let's say, fairly like difficult materials technology challenges. So basically the company is a materials technology company as a result, largely. But now that we have sort of solved the technical issue, we have established high volume production for the device. This is something that can be done very cheaply. We actually have our production around 400 meters from here in Otakari 5 and in high volumes. I'll probably skip this part here as we're a little bit running out of time, but the device can be used either with Surgify's own drill platform, or it can be used with the existing platforms already in the OR. So basically the customer has a choice depending on whether they have a power system or not. It's very interesting that actually a lot of surgeries in spine and also orthopedics, they're done manually. So the surgeons use like chisel and mallet to operate on, for example, a disc herniation. So if you have a herniated disc, that's what you might be actually going through during the surgery. But with improved safety, we can also improve the, let's say, degree of using these drills in the operating room. So we actually now have around 300 successful surgeries. I just wanted to show a map in the Nordics. This is in using practically all university hospitals at the moment. So if you're undergoing a spine surgery or sorts nowadays, we have ramped up significantly our sales efforts in the past half a year or so. It's pretty likely that you might be actually undergoing it with the Surgify Halo device. So we got you covered in that sense.
Thank you very much, Mr. That's all that we have time for today.
Okay. Yeah, and what I can just tell a little bit more, if there is time, then is this robotic aspect. So robotics is a big trend in surgery nowadays, and tissue selective technologies can also be very important related to AI as well. And there are major, of course, ethical questions as well on how to implement this in the operating room. But this is something that's currently in preclinical use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.